So if you can, and if you're in, if you would just type in the text field how you currently use collaboration in your courses. And we do have 3 people with us face to face, so if you'd like to respond, I'll type it in.
Oh.
That's a good, yeah, using the discussion board to answer questions. And some of us probably use that.
We have the virtual office.
Yeah.
And the student lounge.
And then the student lounge, that's a place for them to sort of communicate together. And then virtual office, they could collaborate on troubleshooting some of the things in the course. So those are some good uses of collaboration. In terms of best practice online, there are a few reasons that collaboration is one of those best practices. And I think we've all seen these before, these reasons. And certainly this is a 21st century skill. We've got to be able to work with people. We've got to be able to listen to people and contribute appropriately to people. And often students don't get guided practice with this. Many times we just sort of throw them together and say, collaborate. And that doesn't work very well sometimes. So we need a way to sort of even the playing field, help them feel responsible to each other, as well as responsible, to us for their product. So how are we going to prepare for collaboration? Do you self-select, or do you allow students to self-select groups, or do you select the groups for them generally? You can type in the text or answer with your voice either way. Mary Phil selected her group. A combination of the two. That's a good idea. So sometimes we could let the students give us recommendations and then either agree with or disagree with and put them together. But they've got input in the process. So, absolutely. Kristen says she chooses the groups, but she has a lot of students across campuses and she wants to ensure a diverse group. And I'd say that is the primary reason, at least for me, that I like to choose the groups, because I'm afraid if I let them self-select, that they're going to be with people that maybe they see face-to-face all the time, and then they're not going to feel the need to collaborate in a way that I can see it. And I'm one of those people who likes to see it and to see how they're collaborating. Certainly, we want to provide the group with a meeting space of some sort, so that could be a discussion board. You could actually create a WMBA classroom for each group, and they could meet here and they could archive their discussion, and this allows them to use voice, whether they use the computer or the dial-in number. And so each group could have a WMBA classroom, and they could actually communicate synchronously with each other. Or you could use the voice thread in Blackboard. I think the voice thread is something that some people are really going to like. I guess I'm so accustomed to typing that having to click and then listen and click and record and post and click and listen. I like just reading, but that's just me. I'm a visual linguistic person. So, and then I sent you in your handout, and Mary Phil, I'll get these to each of you. I sent you a sample handout or a sample contract, which in fact, let's see if we can just pull that up and look at. And so this is the sort of thing, and this is, I'm going to just be honest and tell you that I reappropriated this idea from the University of Phoenix. It worked well. for them, and so I thought, well, that's a nice thing to sort of bring over into my classes. So I'm going to share the screen with you. And then I have to select the frame. Okay, go ahead and select. Well, we'll just, okay. Sorry about that, okay. All right, and you should be able to see the handout that I provided to you. And so these are some of the questions we might ask them to actually collaborate and respond to in writing prior to beginning their collaboration. Online, can you see the screen share? Can you see the screen share? I'm hoping you can see the screen share. Not sure. But, you know, how are you going to divide the project so that everybody has a role? And then one thing we want, I mean, at least in true collaboration, having one person complete each part of a project is less collaboration and more working individually and then sticking it all together. So rather than who's going to create each part of the project, what is our role going to be? Are we going to be the person who provides research to the group? Are we going to be the proofreader at the end? Are we going to be an editor? Are we any combination of those two? And then having the group talk that through. Who's going to be responsible? How is the group going to communicate during the project? How often? Communicate every other day. Communicate once a week via summary. Having them outline those things up front can really, really help the process. How are you going to go about completing the actual collaborative work on the project? And we're going to look at some tools for that. Who's going to do the proofing? How's that going to be handled? We do their part. So, you know, right. And I'm going to, if you don't come through for us, then somebody else is going to do it and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to report you to the principal, whatever, you know. So, but really it helps to go ahead and have that discussion, because the reality of, you know, I'm busy tonight, I don't want to do it, kind of comes crashing in. They're like, we talked about this and I know what's going to happen if I don't do it. And then how are you going to answer questions that group members have about the project? So how are you going to assist each other as you do these things, rather than depending on the teacher and over-dependence on the teacher? So, you know, the first week of class in any UOP class that uses collaboration, they do complete this contract and they send it back to the instructor. And so there's a common understanding of how we're going to do these things. Okay, I'm going to stop my app sharing. And can some of the people who are online just maybe click the check box or raise their hand to let me know you're still there?